The weekend is upon us, and for me, and a big chunk of the Arc Raiders community, that means it's time to play some video games. The only downside is that, as of recording, there are still 30 hours until reset. Season 2, Week 4 brings nothing new in terms of trials. It's the same lineup we've seen before. I've noticed some content creators trying to stack as many trials as possible in a single run, but personally I find that approach a bit gimmicky, especially when staying competitive on the trial leaderboard already requires a significant amount of effort. As a solo player, you're competing directly against duos and trios, which doesn't exactly feel well thought out. How and why Embark decided this was a good idea is still unclear. Because of that, this guide will cover each trial individually. How hard you want to push them is entirely up to you. If leaderboard placement matters to you, you'll need to put in the work, but keep in mind that solo players are still matched against groups. It's also worth noting that I'm playing in friendly lobbies with budget loadouts, since that's where I believe a large portion of the player base sits. If you somehow still don't know about the aggression-based matchmaking system, there are plenty of videos and articles explaining how it works. Maybe I'll add my own 2 cents on that in the future. Without out of the way, let's get into this week's trials. For this week we have Deliver Carryables, Damage Rocketeers, Destroy Pops, Download Information Inside the Bunker, and Damage Hornets. Delivering carryables is about as straightforward as it gets. Find X, put it in Y, whether that is a battery or a field crate. I personally prefer batteries on Stella Montes Night Raid, but the classic field crate method is always reliable. Map choice is largely personal preference, but I strongly recommend Stella Montes. It's a very concentrated map with a huge upside potential. You can comfortably hit the 4K requirement for 3-star rating, and even combine this with the Destroy Pops trial if you don't care too much about points. If you really don't want to run Montes, Dam or Spaceport are your next best options. I would avoid Buried City, as it has the fewest field depots and the lowest potential for field crate spawns. If you really don't want to run Montes, Dam or Spaceport are your next best options. I would avoid Buried City, as it has the fewest field depots and the lowest potential for field crate spawns, and the map itself can be frustrating to navigate. If you're going for more open maps, make sure to bring plenty of adrenaline. I also recommend using third-party maps like Arc Raiders map and Metaforge to get a general idea of routes and spawn locations, link in the description. If you're comfortable running Montes on Night Raid, the potential is even higher. Most players will be busy farming pops, while your objective is to power up doors across the map. There are 2 in the lobby, 1 in the atrium, 1 in assembly, and 1 in seed vault. Additionally, there's an access capacitor in Robotic Sandbox A. This door is powered by 3 batteries found on either the east or west side of the room. With just this setup, you're already 1 delivery away from a full 3-star rating. It's also worth noting that each door can accept 2 batteries, meaning that if you fully power multiple doors plus the capacitor, the point potential becomes very high. For efficiency, I usually run all deliveries first, then transition into hunting pops. More on how in a minute. For Damage Rocketeers, you have several viable options depending on how hard you want to push points. My personal go-to maps are Blue Gate and Spaceport. Whether you run Night Raid or a map-exclusive condition really comes down to how much effort you want to invest. I usually just take whatever rotation I get. For this week, I ran Blue Gate Night Raid. Keep in mind that friendly lobbies often mean more PvE-centric gameplay, so I expect competition. On Blue Gate, stick to the upper middle section of the map. Rocketeers commonly spawn around Pilgrim's Peak, Checkpoint, and the area between village and the forest. Holding a vantage point that covers multiple spawn routes is ideal. Weapon choice is flexible. I completed this and most other kill trials with my trusty anvil and a few seeker grenades. That setup alone is enough for a 10k plus score, but you can scale it up if you want to push it higher. Wolf packs are also a solid choice, especially when contesting other PvE focused raiders. If you're running Spaceport, the same principles apply. I'd recommend sticking around the launch towers, as most Rocketeer spawns are concentrated there. For destroy pops in Stellamontes, my route depends slightly on spawn, but generally looks like this. Assembly, sandbox, atrium, lobby, lobby metro, back to assembly, rinse and repeat. This route becomes especially effective later in the round, since players stop spawning in around the 20-minute mark. That's why I usually prioritize carryables first, then switch to pops if I'm not chasing top leaderboard placements, but still want a strong score. Weapon-wise, the anvil is ideal, as it one-shots pops, but it's also important to kill both the pop and the fireball whenever possible. To my knowledge, they share spawn logic, so removing fireballs increases the chance of additional pop spawning. Bring plenty of ammo. If you're on an even tighter budget, the Pharaoh works just fine. Avoid silencers. You want pops and fireballs to hear you, otherwise they may stay dormant in hard to see locations. I managed a 20k score on a standard Montes run, making my theoretical total around 40k. Realistically though, you'll likely run into competition, especially in friendly lobbies. Patience and ammo are key. This is easily the most frustrating trial, mainly because it can only be done on Spaceport. Unfortunately, I lost my footage for this, and I haven't been able to rerun it due to a rare condition known as employment. To open the bunker, players need to locate and activate antennas scattered across the map. Once all antennas are active, the bunker opens. You'll then descend into the bunker and interact with the download panels inside. Interact with the panel, wait for the timer, and download the data. Bring patience and good manners, as players often will form an informal queue and take turns downloading. Hornets is one of the more enjoyable trials. My preferred map for this is Spaceport, but due to rotation I ended up running it on Buried City. Almost every map works here, except Stellamontes. Any night raid is fine, but hidden bunker on Spaceport or locked gates on Blue Gate are optimal. When engaging Hornets, make sure to shoot their bodies, not the propellers. Since the goal is to deal as much damage as possible, body shots allow you to farm more damage before they explode. It's also to my understanding that wiping entire squads of Hornets and Wasps is ideal, as this encourages the game to spawn fresh groups. Lastly, the old trick of farming snitch scanners for this trial no longer works. Thanks, Embark. I hope this guide helps you make the most of your weekend. What are your thoughts on the trial system? What would you like to see changed? Personally, I'd like to see solos and groups separated, or at least a point penalty for groups, to make solo play more viable without having to min-max everything to stay competitive. Take care of each other when going topside, and happy raiding.